you guys have been sick. Do it.
Skate the Plaza was I wanted to do some type of punk on the plaza, and skateboarding and hip hop and punk all go hand in hand, and graffiti. So it's just a great blend.
Let's fucking go!
I was very involved. I helped the plaza. I kind of jumped in and co-chaired it with the plaza event manager. So I did everything from coordinating, getting all the bands together, payout. I did a fundraiser with t-shirts that Ross, Friends with a Cop, designed.
Plaza, right?
Correct.
Okay, so this place is kind of a safe haven for punks. It's everybody loves this place. Everybody loves you. Was that intentional, or did it just kind of happen?
Definitely intentional. Intentional on being a safe haven for not just punks, but for any, and particularly youth, queer, goth, punk, just anyone that needed to find a fit.
I think it's about acid. Fucking sucks, low-key.
When I was 16, I got a car and I drove from small town Yukon with my Mohawk back in the 80s, and I had 0 friends, and I went to the Rec Room, which was an all-age venue at the time on 39th Street. It was there forever. It just recently closed. But for the first time, I found my group. And kids do not need to wait until they're 21 and can start going out to clubs. They need to be able to have all-age events and an all-age safe space, so they also can start to feel a sense of community. So first, whenever you finally find that friend group that accepts you, it's a relationship, a lifetime relationship for sure. Also, punks are genuinely one of the best people and best groups. I mean, they're fucking making cat sanctuaries in winter, Zach is having everybody at his house and bring, your tubs and your hay. They're always doing fundraisers. I can't tell you how many bands, local bands, have said, don't pay us, give our part to the touring band.
This one's a cover. Fame. Do the thing. Bring it in.
sometimes outwardly facing, they and we may look a little bit more aggressive or standoffish. They have just the biggest hearts.
Since you have been in the scene for longer than I have, longer than just about anybody that I've known, how would you say you've seen it evolve and change over the years?
So there are a lot of things that have evolved, and then there are some things that have just remained consistent. So things that have remained consistent is still just the loyalty, the compassion within the punk scene. That hasn't changed as far as just being one of the best community groups. Evolution would definitely just be music and genre.
Huh?
How's it going?
What's up, baby?
Good to see you. Good to see you. Right there, right there.
I spit in my own face, too.
Sorry, y'all aren't.
That was fucking sick.
Dude, breaking my heart. I feel like this show's fucking cursed.
We were so disappointed. I know, we were like, God does not want us to play this.
Now, I mean, it's evolved so much, going from just punk to thrasher to psychobilly to all the cores to now my daughter's in a band and the genre is homicidal slamming beatdown.
Right.
So apparently that's a genre now.
Finally, specifically within the context of COVID, do you have any insight as to how that changed the scene?
Absolutely. You saw a lot of the scene coming together as far as just fundraising for people that may have lost their job, or even here at the store whenever we were closed. I mean, the punk community was one of the first ones to order online and to do things like that. COVID now being a little safer, it's just blown up. Everybody was practicing. I mean, there's a show, like there is no rest for the weary. There's a show every night, and sometimes there's 3, and you have to pick which one you want to go to. There's just a plethora. I would say for anybody out there that's struggling or feels like they're not fitting in, to know that they do. And that's I'm 53 years old, and I still have days where I feel like I don't fit in, because also there's not a lot of 53-year-olds with a blue mohawk. But just know that you have community, and there are people out there that love and encourage you here at Dig It, and also just within the whole community. So don't be afraid to go out and find them.
Cool.
I think it's the only thing like it.
Okay.
There's not really anywhere else where you can like let out energy like that or be part of a group like that, I think, unless you're like kind of established in something. But
you do feel like it's a community? Like it feels
I think
like...
it definitely is most of the time. I think sometimes it can get a little out of control, but I think that's just human nature.
I would say be yourself and don't do anything you're not comfortable with, and everyone's gonna accept you for whoever the fuck you are, because that's what the scene is. like that, like, honestly, if I'm being totally honest, I just really like hitting men. If I'm being like 100% transparent right now, it's my favorite thing to do.
Do you enjoy hitting women or non-binary people?
No.
Children?
Yes.
Anything to share?
You win some, you lose most, and I've always said that.
Okay, this is the last one. Oh yeah. I love you, Shaka! You're so... You just did. We love you though.
We love you, Shaka. We wish you could stay forever.
How's everybody doing? All right. Thank you so much. Let's hear it for Shaka. Let's hear it for Skate on the Plaza. All right. So the press is going to have 2 punk shows next from 8 to 9, and that's Primal Brain and Inferno. Yeah.
I don't know if anyone has ever asked me that, because I don't necessarily I don't know about like hard boundaries as far as like, are you in or are you out? I think like some people interact with it periodically or decide to be a part of it. I'll just say yes though, because I participate in a lot of things, and I try to be active as far as like helping people with like merch and doing whatever I can, and just like be helpful with like other bands that are with people that I'm friends with. So I would say sure. Yeah, for sure.
I mean, at least like playing in bands and shooting in bands with like VHS and stuff. I hope I'm part of the scene. I hope at least that like people can adopt me into like, being fans before I'm even like part of it in terms of being a band. It's just I'm a fan of everything everybody's doing.
If you're not part of the scene, I don't think any of us are.
That's what I can only try.
What would you say drew you to the scene, got you interested, and then got you invested?
I would say just my friends playing in different bands and going to shows and stuff. Probably like a couple years back, kind of recently, which is again why I'm hesitant to be like, oh, I'm part of the scene. Like this is still like pretty new to me, but I've been going to shows for like a couple years now, and I just got introduced to it through friends and other creatives that I collaborate with.
I think what drew me to like wanting to be closer to the scene and wanting to film other bands and go to their shows and get excited about other people's music is like you're not only a part of it, but it feels like people. You remember people at shows, you remember songs from artists, and it becomes your favorite thing, even though not that many people know about it. It's underground. It's still the thing that nobody else gets to do except for you and your friends and some people that you might know, that you might introduce to them, and then they love it and everything, I guess what drew me to the scene in that case is like the energy and the fun and the ability to just have a safe place to do whatever you want to do and be whoever you want to be and jump and hit your friends and have a great time. The community is built on the sweetest people you've ever met. It's like you introduce people and somebody like Bastion comes up and they say fuck you on stage, and everyone, and you can be the type of person who shows up and then you're like, what's that all about? That's kind of rude. What's that all about? And then you talk to them and they're the sweetest people that you've ever met in your entire life. And like it's just that thing of like we're all in on the joke, we're all in on the music is the passion and the fury, but we're all just friends and we're all just a community. What other scene what other scene can you like push your friends around, but then also have a serious conversation about something that needs to change in the, you know, like in the community or whatever? Nobody would listen to you if you were in, say, the country scene or some other indie scene or whatever. You'd probably be hard pressed to find people who talk about the community as much as the punk and hardcore and metal community talk about a community they have.
I would say too, like, one thing that really draws me to it now that I've like gotten more familiar with it is just like radical expression. I don't know. Me personally, I'm kind of like insular when it comes to like some of the things I believe about the world, and I'm just like, I know that there's other people who maybe believe similar things, but to see people like express that in their art, it like inspires me, and it shows me like people care about things, and you know, it honestly makes me a little bit less cynical, which I feel like is kind of like strange given like the genre, because this is like aggressive and mean, quote unquote, but it actually is like really hopeful for me. Yeah.
Great.
I've been involved in the Oklahoma City DIY punk scene for just over 15 years now. That I think about it, holy shit. Growing up in the era that I was getting into punk, it was super interesting because it was kind of this social media wasn't super duper prominent yet, at least not the way that it is now, where it's kind of an everyday facet of our reality. It was a lot of, you know, getting home from school and like hopping on your parents' computer to get on MySpace to kind of like chat with your cool, interesting looking friends from around the country and getting like band recommendations, then ultimately fucking like 3 family computers with LimeWire. I think punk's always been really, really interesting in Oklahoma City because it's historically we're a smaller metropolitan area, and with that, and with any punk scene comes, you know, further fragmentation into, you know, there's these 4 or 5 groups of people who only go to this bar, there's these 4 or 5 groups of people who only want to go to these shows, and so you see all these communities kind of developing alongside each other in different ways. And so when I was growing up in punk, street punk was like the big community that was really happening here. It was street punk, and then straight edge hardcore was kind of like the other scene that was popping off in the hardcore end of things. So, you know, when I was coming into it, it was, you know, people with big 2-foot tall mohawks and studded jackets and all this playing like pretty simple, like rudimentary oi and street punk kind of music, and bands like the Casualties and Leftover Crack and shit would come through and sell out the conservatory back in the day. And that's just like, that's what punk was at the surface level for a lot of people. And it wasn't until some of us like were just a little bit more involved that we found out about, you know, like hardcore punk shows being put on at Park Down the Street House eventually, and kind of all these other slightly more authentic and slightly more what's a nice way to say that it was a less shitty place to be. Y'all can fix that in editing. Growing up, like, punk to me was it was interesting because it was not I wouldn't say generally it was as accepting or as pleasant of a place to be for queer people, for women, for people of color. Like, it was still very much a white boys club. I think when I was growing up in punk, we were still very much feeling the ramifications of like the 4chan era of culture, and also the ramifications of Oklahoma City being a huge place for white supremacist like rock and oi bands to play back in the day. You know, Midtown Boot Boys, and there were more than a handful of white power bands growing up in Oklahoma City. And I think that even long after those dudes went to jail and that shit kind of died out, like, you still kind of felt the effects of that. So, you know, it was still very white, and it was still very you know, slurs thrown around just like as if it was just a funny thing to say. You know, you would hear the F word and the N word as often as you would hear dude, you know, and it was just kind of what it was. You know, people be doing coke in the bathrooms, and people be passing out at shows. And it was a lot more violent. It was a lot more just generally edgelord driven, and eventually those people burned out, fucked off. You could definitely feel a culture shift, and you know, about 8 or 9 years ago, of people who were just fed up with it and didn't want to abide by that anymore. And so you saw kind of what I would consider to be like the next generation of Oklahoma City punk kind of come up, and before you know it, it was, you know, it was a better place to be in. And I genuinely do believe that punk in Oklahoma City right now is the best it's ever been, sonically, culturally, any of it. I had never been in a band, at least since Violent Affair, where I feel like I really had control of the creative direction of the music. Mm-hmm. And so after Crutch, my buddy Ross Adams gave me a guitar. I didn't have a guitar at the time, and a little practice amp, and said, you know, here you go start your band, go write something. And so I spent about 6 months in the winter, probably like, you know, between fall and winter of 2018 to 2019, writing music that would end up being the first Inferna demo. Kind of the first era of Inferna. We put out the first demo, and it's kind of just been what was supposed to be rolling from there. We put out our first demo. It was looking really, really promising. We put out our second demo, and we were supposed to be going on tour the week that everything shut down. We were supposed to leave on Wednesday, and I think we got word on like Monday that everything was shutting down and people were canceling their tours.
Of advance shut down tours. Like, it shut down my first 2 shows. We were supposed to play with you
right
guys, which eventually we did, and it was badass, but it took like 2 more years than it should have. How do you think COVID at large affected the scene?
Oh my god, it absolutely the way that glue affects anything from moving, I guess. It's COVID absolutely shut down the greater punk community around the world for, you know, 1.5 to 2 years. And sure, you had a handful of bands who decided that they still wanted to go do their tours, but what you saw one after the other was, you know, going out for a couple days, getting COVID, coming home. And we didn't really know if it was in the thick of it. We didn't know if this was ever gonna end, if being in a punk band was ever really going to be viable again, if playing music with each other was ever going to be viable again.
To a lot of shows, but most of, if not all of the shows that I went to were organized by Ross, and then he left, and now most of the shows that I've gone to, and specifically that I've played, you have organized. So what has that been like, kind of, I don't know, maybe taking that over from Ross, or just stepping up to organize shows?
I think that there's definitely a certain amount of people, and this is true in punk anywhere, that are just thankful that this was a thing where they were growing up, and this has always been something that, you know, somebody kind of takes up the burden on booking shows and finding venues and encouraging people to start bands and helping, you know, get artist exposure through doing the flyers and helping them make a little bit of money through doing that. And so there's you know, before Ross, somebody was doing it, and before that person was doing it, somebody was doing it. And so, you know, Ross was a person that, when I was young and coming into the scene, taught me a lot about booking shows and handling things. Then when Ross moved away, it was just kind of stagnant here for a minute. And that's not to diminish anybody else's impact, because definitely I'm not the only person that books shows here. There's plenty of people who make this an awesome community. But for me, it was just this drive of like, okay, well, I I can't wait around for somebody else to do it. If I want to get it done, I've got to go do it. So.
Anything you want to plug?
The people destroying the Earth have names and addresses, and it's very easy to dox them. Thank you. Holding for the train.
Yo, let's fucking go! and Primal Brain is up next. We'll see you next time.
Hey Ian, are you gonna do that the whole time? Like
Do what?
do like the mic thing?
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
Wow! Today, I'm waiting, gonna get a night for that. I'm waiting for the really good out. I'm waiting, I'm going to I need a watch. The best, and now they're having good. The light, the mood, really good.
Primal Brain.
I said 2005. That's probably too early. I saw my first I Resign show. That was that was my gateway. I saw that.
That was definitely after 2007.
It was 2007. Millions of Dead Cops. They played on the floor. It blew my mind.
My first DIY show was Strike Anywhere, and that was in 2005.
Yeah.
I don't remember. I think it was like a VFW somewhere in Midwest City or Del City in like 2004.
You and I played our first show together without even knowing it.
Oh yeah, in Bartlesville.
Yeah, that was
fucking
2005.
weird. That was 2005.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
2001, VFW in Shawnee with a bunch of metalcore weird kids who prayed in between their songs and stuff.
Prayed?
Yes.
Dude, I've been to those shows.
To the Christian God or what?
I don't know who they were praying to, but
it's Oklahoma.
Shawnee.
We grew up in small towns.
Didn't you grow up in California?
I went to high school in Blanchard. It just kind of happened. I was just going to see Millions of Dead Cops because I liked that band, and then I realized that there was like this flourishing DIY hardcore scene underneath all of it. I don't know. I was like, so like when I moved to Oklahoma from Southern California when I was 15 years old, I was so sad because I thought no one in Oklahoma City or Oklahoma is gonna want to like play in punk bands with me.
But you knew about punk before moving to
Of course, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, like at a lesser level, but I mean,
sure.
But then like I don't know. Then you end up like in Oklahoma City watching Millions of Dead Cops, and like one of the best bands I've ever seen is playing on the floor. So I don't know. I love Oklahoma City.
Hard same. The singer of I Resign, Kale Mauser, and I went to high school together, and he was my real entry into punk. Him and I were like best friends all throughout junior high and high school, and he like showed me all this shit because he had the internet at his house, and so that was like not a common thing when I was in high school, and yeah, taught me about all this cool shit. Showed me this cool band, Strike Anywhere. They came here, and he took me to it with, his mom did. And, yeah, ever since then, it's just been all about punk music and the DIY scene here.
What was the question again?
What got you interested and invested in the DIY punk scene?
In the DIY punk scene, so I got into that like later. I guess I was playing in like mostly like rock and roll bands, like garage rock bands, and like early on, I guess it was like kind of like indie bands mostly. I don't know, but like punk, I don't know. Our good friend Chaz just hit me up one night and was like, "Hey, come to the show." And I went. It was at the shop. I think it was like Lumpy and the Dumpers. It was the first time I saw them, and it was really sick. And I don't know. I
That's a good
recognize
first show.
it was tight. Yeah, I can't remember who else played that night, but y'all probably do. It was sick. I was at a weird point in my life where like I wasn't seeking anything out, and then this just kind of showed up in my life, and it was really sick and fun, and it was like exactly what I needed at the time.
In Oklahoma City, it's hard to find like-minded people, and by trying to scrape together a band to make music is a whole experience in itself, to like hunt down people and try them out and see if they gel. In Oklahoma City, people have to stick together because there's not a huge number of crazy punk rockers or hardcore people. And I think that's what makes the scene really cool, because it's like you can do almost anything because it's punk, and there's many different ways to express yourself. And Oklahoma City appreciates pretty much everything that comes out as long as you give effort and energy, and that's what drew me to it. To kind of go off what Adam was saying earlier, though, I think like the coolest thing about the scene now is that it's just full of young people.
Yeah.
Like everybody in it is like so much younger than me.
It's never old.
It's not just that. It's like I think I credit Shaka for a lot of this. Like all of a sudden, all these like really young people are at every punk show, and they're all having a great time, and they're all being really nice to each other, and they all look cool, and they're all having just a great time.
Yeah.
And that just kind of happened, and then it stayed, and then it got bigger and bigger, and now like, I mean, fuck, that show we played at the Press was so sick.
Yeah,
and it was just
that was
full of young people having a great
such
time.
a good time.
Yeah, it's definitely the most high school students I've ever seen.
It's sick, dude.
It's been older in the past.
I honestly
and
take
I
that
love
as
seeing
like a good metric. It's like if the young people are coming to your shows and you're a punk band, then you're doing it right.
Yeah, agreed.
Dude, I hate my street punk phase, but some of that
Everybody does.
Some of that shit's still
It
sick.
was more streety in the early.
Yeah, that's just how it fucking was, dude. That's just how fucking punk was, dude.
It really was.
And we were younger, and we all drank a lot. So
There was like if you didn't look punk, it was kind of tough.
You're a bar punk. And Oklahoma City gets it done. And we're very thankful for all the support we have in all our endeavors.
Absolutely.
It's a good city to live in.
It's got friction, and I think that's important for like alternative people, is to live somewhere with friction.
Yeah.
Like you live somewhere that's like super liberal, or like where you have like really easy access to this kind of stuff, you can take it for granted like super easily.
Like in Oklahoma, you have to like make your own fun.
You have to find it or make your own.
One time Ross said something that was really profound. He was like, in bigger cities like Chicago and New York, punk is just an excuse. It's just because like it's what's happening. In Oklahoma City, it's like it may be a fucking month before you go to your next show, but like you gotta like fill your time with other shit.
That's a very profound statement. That's really good.
It's good. I have Griff's video camera.
Do you guys were talking about younger people coming to shows and also friction being needed for punk. I think COVID is the cause for a lot of both of those things.
Absolutely.
How have you guys seen lockdown and COVID affect the scene?
COVID is the best thing that ever happened to punk.
Yeah, because I mean, absolutely, because it was
That's
like
a joke, guys.
Well, no, I almost agree 100% because before COVID, whenever like say Warehouse B was a thing, like I'd go to these really sick shows and there'd be like 10 people there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But now that after COVID, it feels like everybody doesn't want to waste an opportunity because they know that it's 100% possible that a month from now they could be stuck in their house for 2 years. Like I think that's something that lingers in the back of people's minds whether they want to admit it or not. I think that's something that is like real, and that's why every show has just been a fucking rager every time.
Also, some of these kids in school like weren't socializing for like a whole year, so it's like they just turned into fucking freaks.
Yeah,
like, I gotta get to the gig.
Yeah, I gotta get to the gig. I'm too much of a freak.
Do you guys have anything to add or anything you want to plug?
Primal Brain.
Plug stuff. Go to Dig It. Listen to local bands. Listen to young people.
Yeah, listen to young people.
Register and vote while your vote still matters.
Every day is a struggle, and every day is a gift.
Cool.
Bravo, baby!
Yeah, what he said.
Dude, I've never done it. That's right, dude.
Bash the fuck in, motherfucker. Yeah.
Homicidal slamming beatdown 405 butcher gang, yes.
It couldn't be the same without all of us. Like,
I definitely agree. I feel like a lot of people, it's not just us doing all of the work, as long as like the crowd's there and we have our friends and our supporters and whatnot, they also count in.
What drew you all into the scene? What got you invested and interested? What got y'all making music?
an outlet to like let my feelings out and be mad and not be made fun of for it.
Yes, I definitely agree.
It's
And
also just fun.
yeah, it's also
It's
just
a good
fun.
time.
I mean, like
The
the
pit.
raw emotion and just like being able to fucking be mad or sad or whatever the fuck you want to do, and like people just accept that shit for what it is.
Yeah, the community also has been through very similar things, or like not maybe very similar things as much, but yeah, they just all pretty much understand, and everyone goes to understand each other, and it's an awesome way to make connections with people, that's for sure.
Hey, y'all like that? Yeah? All right. Appreciate the energy. We're going to keep it moving. If you create an oppressive world, don't be surprised when you get your shit fucking rocked. This is Seething Gristle. Come on! Show me!
Have any of y'all been a part of the scene since before the pandemic?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. How would you all say the pandemic altered the scene?
Oh, this
Or
shit's
did it?
popping.
No,
dude.
it's really
Oh my
popping.
god! Like before the pandemic, it fucking sucked. Like now it's
There's
fire.
barely even a crowd, and now there's all these people that are coming
I feel
after
like the
not
pandemic
socializing.
brought that fucking like energy out of people.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
exactly.
Like people
There's, like,
want to
a-
have an outlet to.
Yeah. Yeah, there's like an entire new generation that's like entering the scene now and changing it. And
Yes.
so like post COVID, like everyone is coming in and popping this shit off.
There's family out here, but we see you fucking snakes, and we're gonna do something about it one day, so fuck you. But yeah, there's family out here, but there's fucking snakes too.
But in the same sense, like, people kind of look out for each other around here, you
Yes,
know,
exactly.
especially at shows. Yeah.
I definitely feel like
There's more good people than
there's a
bad
lot
people.
of good people here, but there's also a lot of fucked up people that come along with that.
It turned off? Yeah, that's what I gotta do. Okay, I'll keep getting a little bit of audio. I'll wrap it up pretty quick.
You're okay.
I'm
so
sorry. No, it's okay.
We can make it a podcast.
Right. So you all make what would be considered angry music, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I hope your evening has been wonderful. But we're about to fucking ruin it.
Very angry.
So the community that the scene provides, how do you see that, like, in the angry music and in the mosh pits where people are essentially like beating the shit out of each other? Like, how does that express the community?
Not a lot of people get a reason to let that shit out. So,
Yeah, exactly.
like, you could go and hurt somebody that doesn't deserve it, or you could just let it out in a healthy way where everybody accepts that this is what we do.
Yes, exactly.
You know?
It's real constructive roughhousing.
Listen to Slam from Oklahoma. You got
Yeah.
Peeling Flesh.
Yeah, Peeling Flesh.
You got us. You got Muramasa. Shit, you got Cell if you want to consider that.
Yes.
Anything that chugs, dude, we got it down here for real.
And listen to music from your town too.
Yeah.
Listen
Yeah.
to local music and support local artists.
Yes, for sure.
And don't be a fucking asshole.
Yeah, don't be a fuck up. That's for sure.
All right. Well, thank you, fellas.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks, bro.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
This is your punishment, motherfucker. Let me hear you, motherfucker!
I just need to ask you guys one thing.
Dash the fuck in!
No kicking babies.